Taiwan's government confirms that President Tsai Ing-wen will visit the United States.
I'm here in the southern port city of Kaohsiung to see some of the Navy's latest hardware in person.
On the 64th anniversary of the Tibetan Uprising, we meet the activists keeping the memory alive in Taiwan.
I'm here at Taipei City Market to see how an egg shortage is affecting Taiwan.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Eric Gao. Starting off in local news, a Taiwan minister has confirmed that President Tsai Ing-wen will visit the United States next month. Overseas Community Affairs Minister Xu Jiaqing told lawmakers that Tsai plans to travel to New York in April. She will also visit the West Coast, most likely Los Angeles. U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said that he will meet Tsai this year. That's expected to happen in California, McCarthy's home state. China sees Taiwan as part of its territory and says it is seriously concerned by reports of Tsai's visit. When previous U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan last August, Beijing launched live-fire military exercises around Taiwan's borders. In what could be a diplomatic coup for Taiwan, the president of Micronesia has hinted at officially recognizing Taipei over Beijing after releasing a letter heavily criticizing China. In it, outgoing President David Panuelo described bribery, threats, and political warfare that he says were conducted by Chinese officials in Micronesia. The letter says he met with Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu to discuss potential relations. Panuelo said that Taiwan had offered a $50 million investment in Micronesia in exchange for formal ties with Taipei. Taiwan's foreign ministry says it is open to further developing ties with the country, but didn't comment on the money issue. China's foreign ministry says it rejects Panuelo's, quote, smears. Taiwan's Navy is starting a countrywide tour aimed at showcasing some of its warships and service members to the public. Our reporter Jaime Ocon is down in the southern port city of Kaohsiung, where the ships are getting ready to set sail.
Taiwan is showing off its newest naval additions. This event is organized by the Midshipman Cruising and Training Squadron. It's held in the southern port city of Kaohsiung, and officials say it's an opportunity to showcase the next generation of sailors and to begin recruiting the next wave.
我们也同样的也希望有更多优秀的青年学子了解海军、认识海军，进而踊跃地加入海军。
The Navy has selected 3 ships to take part in this event, including this one, which is armed with some of the country's most advanced weapons.
Behind me is one of Taiwan's biggest warships, and for the next 2 weeks, the Navy is letting its citizens hop on board to learn more about the weapons and systems helping to protect the country.
It's been 3 years since this annual event was last held due to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. But as more rules are being lifted, people are eager to check out some of the Navy's biggest guns. Things like anti-ship missiles, cannons, and radar equipment, which are essential to protecting the country, are on full display.
我已经是在东海军舰，那幺勾幺了，现在已经除役了，成年除役。我现在回来看看，现在这个船很大呢。
For the past few years, Taiwan's military has been increasingly busy. Chinese warplanes and ships often operate near the country, putting strain on the Navy, which is tasked with monitoring the seas around Taiwan. Officials say that now is the time to show off recent graduates from the Naval Academy to let their families see how far they've come in their training before they are deployed.
The Navy says that this event is not just about showcasing its warships. It also hopes to inspire a new generation of young recruits and teach people just how much work it takes to defend Taiwan's waters. Andy Xue and Jaime Ocon in Kaohsiung City for TaiwanPlus.
In other military news, the search for a soldier who went missing on Thursday from Taiwan's outlying Jinmen Islands has intensified. Military officials speculate that he may have swum to China, just a short distance away from Jinmen. Joyce Zeng has more.
A mysterious disappearance from a Taiwanese military unit on an outlying island close to China. A 26-year-old with the surname Chen reportedly missed his Thursday morning roll call. The base was immediately searched, but the soldier was nowhere to be found. Now local media are reporting that he has swum to China, which lies just a few kilometers away from the Jinmen coastline. The island's strategic location in the Taiwan Strait makes it a hotspot for Taiwan and China relations. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory, including the nearby Kinmen Islands. Though close to China, Kinmen is about 200 kilometers west from Taiwan's main island. Chen was reportedly last seen here, in his base at Erdan Island, about 12 kilometers away from Kinmen's main island, and 4 kilometers from the Chinese city of Xiamen. Before the news of Chen's apparent discovery in China, the military was tight-lipped on where he might be.
很多的预测啊，我们都不做评论了。现在我们就是一定要掌握黄金72小时来协寻，这个是我们的关键。
Chen is reportedly a regular service member and not undergoing his mandatory military service. The Ministry of National Defense said Chen was posted to Kinmen in April 2020. He is currently a member of Lieyu Garrison Battalion, where he served as a cook. Officials say Chen had been regularly reporting for duty prior to going missing and showed no signs of suspicious behavior.
会担心儿子吗？
The missing soldier's family was informed of the situation and arrived on the outlying island on Thursday afternoon to assist the search.
最近有没有跟你联络说他心情不好还是怎么样的？
On Friday, the defense minister issued a public apology. Aside from efforts to locate Chen, he said a thorough investigation of the base's management will be done. He also revealed that the missing soldier had outstanding debts and acknowledged that he may have swum to China.
目前没有任何讯息讲说他已经到对岸或如何啊，所以我刚刚讲我没办法预测，好不好？所以非常说很遗憾一件事情，我们持续要找嘛，找到人再讲。
The military's reputation has taken a hit recently. Recent controversies include losing a pistol, food shortages for frontline troops, and leaks of private army videos in another island base. If it is true that Chen did swim to China, the military is likely to face even bigger questions going forward. Howard Zhang and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
Starting on Friday, Taiwan is opening flights to more Chinese cities. This ends 3 years of strict cross-strait flight rules because of COVID. Both sides hope this will increase exchanges. Bing Wang reports.
A gesture of goodwill between Taiwan and China. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, the country's top body in charge of cross-strait issues, revealed a change in flight policy to China.
我们一起来宣布恢复两岸空运客运航点的一个规划的方案。那今天早上，行政院会，邱泰山邱主委有提出这个报告，那就是我们规划的这个大的方向。那院长也同意。
Prior to the announcements, Taiwan only allowed flights to 4 Chinese cities during the pandemic. This now changes with the resumption of flights to 10 more Chinese cities. Charter flights will also be open to 13 other Chinese destinations. Air travel from Taiwan to China was reduced in February 2020 after the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The council says the restart of flights was decided because of a full investigation of the risks, and the 10 cities chosen were because of the large concentration of Taiwanese businesses. It is hoped this is just the start of further cross-strait cooperation.
以后我们也希望两岸交流的恢复跟秩序的维护，需要双方一起继续来共同的努力。那么我们也希望在这一次的这个航点恢复的这个基础之上，逐步增加双方的善意跟互动。
The reopening of flights will help Taiwanese business people easily travel to their companies in China, something they weren't able to do for the last 3 years. It will also allow tourists to travel to Chinese cities, giving a much-needed boost to Taiwan's travel industry. Alex Shen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
In China, Xi Jinping has gained a norm-breaking 3rd term as the country's president. His victory came during the annual meeting of the National People's Congress, China's rubber-stamp parliament. The nearly 3,000 members voted unanimously for Xi to continue his role as head of state, which is largely ceremonial. He was also re-elected to head China's Central Military Commission. Xi is considered one of the most powerful Chinese leaders in history. He abolished presidential term limits in 2018, allowing him to rule for life. Xi had already secured a 3rd 5-year term as head of the Chinese Communist Party last October. Over the past 2 weeks, events have been held around Taiwan to mark the 64th anniversary of the Tibetan Uprising. The annual Cycling for a Free Tibet campaign brought out rights groups and supporters with rallies in Taipei's main commercial district. Sally Jensen has more.
西藏是西藏人的，西藏是西藏人的 ，Free Tibet, Free Tibet, Free Tibet, Free Tibet.
Of the 6 million Tibetans in the world, 150,000 live in exile out of fear of persecution in China. Some of them are living here in Taipei, and like every year, they've come together to commemorate a day 64 years ago when Tibetan freedom was brutally repressed by the Chinese Communist Party. For many, holding this act of protest in a democratic country also facing threats from China today has great meaning.
Taiwan and Tibetan situation is like almost same thing. Even China trying to occupy or sending lots of threat call to Taiwan.
我想作为一个同样深受中国对人权迫害压力的台湾人，那我其实很想来这边给他们一些支持。
如果台湾人还不警惕的话，就是以后就会发现自己的自由一直被压迫，会太晚了。
This year's event was organized by the Taiwan Tibetan Welfare Association and the Tibetan Youth Congress in Taiwan. Many human rights groups and advocates feel Taiwan has a special responsibility to stand in solidarity, like prominent Taiwanese activist Li Mingzhi, who had been jailed in China.
台湾过去我们的民主自由是有很多外国朋友来帮助我们。那今天台湾我们有民主自由，我们当然应该帮助吐蕃的朋友，让他们回家的路走得更不孤单。
And Taiwanese politician Freddie Lim.
国际社会团结在一起，不只是支持台湾，也包括如何支持西藏、维吾尔、香港等所有受到这个独裁政权压迫的民族。
For many, the gathering is a powerful way to demonstrate solidarity not only with groups oppressed by the Chinese Communist Party, but with all peoples around the world living under totalitarianism. And while Tibet remains under strict Chinese control, at gatherings like this, human rights advocates continue to push for Tibetan sovereignty. Damon Lin and Sally Jensen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's next elections have been set for January 13th. Voters will head to the polls then to decide Taiwan's next president. The country's current leader, Tsai Ing-wen, has hit her 2-term limit. Vice President Lai Ching-te is the favorite to win the nomination from Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP. And from the opposition Kuomintang, or KMT, new Taipei Mayor Hou You-yi is expected to mount a strong challenge. Voters will also choose their local lawmakers. Right now, the DPP has the most seats in the legislature, followed by the KMT and then 2 smaller parties. A county council speaker in central Taiwan who is suspected of bribery is now out on bail. Prosecutors in Rinling County had applied for the detention of 6 people, including Speaker Sen Zong-long, on Thursday. Aside from Sen, another councillor was also released on bail. Both politicians are from the main opposition party, the Kuomintang. According to local media, prosecutors also requested the detention of 2 city council aides, a subcontractor, and a senior manager at the German green energy firm WPD AG. They are accused of paying several local officials $850,000 in bribes in return for approving a wind farm project. Coming up, we meet the dancer lighting up the dance floor on 2 wheels. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Inka Vat.
This very aggressive form of cultural revolution-like politics in China seems to be moving forward in this modern era.
This grave injustice is happening.
I think Xi Jinping will not give up his ambition.
We need that kind of mindset to prepare for the warfare.
What implications does this have on Taiwan and the region as a whole?
Just like Ukraine right now, you need people to understand we're doing this for our own country.
Reaffirmed our support for the Taiwanese ability to make their own decisions about their own future.
It's very hard to duplicate in the short time. Taiwan still can continue being the leading position if we put efforts on R&D.
And you are riding on a wave. This is exactly the time you need to double down.
I did not realize
I am actually running to be the first Asian woman in the state senate. Our next generation, they can see Asian American is as equal and have the same platform.
Taiwan Talks provides a platform for the voices and perspectives that are shaping our country.
I'm Leslie Liao in Vilnius, Lithuania, and this is TaiwanPlus News, the voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Turning now to international news, at least 11 people have died in a massive wave of Russian missile strikes on Ukraine. Hypersonic missiles were used in some of those strikes for the first time since the early months of the conflict. The barrage targeted Ukraine's civilian infrastructure. It temporarily cut the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant off from the country's power grid, leaving many people without electricity. It was the most Russian strikes on Ukrainian territory in one day since January. Elsewhere in Europe, the Czech Republic has sworn in its new president, Petr Pavel. He's a former Czech army chief and senior NATO official. In his inauguration speech, Pavel pledged to continue supporting Ukraine in its war with Russia. He said he hoped the Czech Republic would be seen by other countries as an active and reliable partner. Pavel has also been outspoken in his support for Taiwan. After winning the election, he accepted a congratulatory phone call from Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen, despite warnings against it from China. The Czech leader is expected to visit Taiwan in March. German media say a man who killed 8 people in a church on Thursday was a former member of that congregation. Der Spiegel magazine says the attacker used to be part of the community at Hamburg's Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness. Police responded to reports of gunfire on Thursday evening. They arrived at the hall to find people dead and injured. Police confirmed 8 people were killed, including the gunman. The motive for the shooting is unclear. Back in Taiwan, the southern city of Kaohsiung is preparing for what could be its worst drought in more than 75 years. Authorities in the port city, which has a population of almost 3 million, are providing treated sewage water to the public. This water must not be used for drinking or on human skin, but it is safe for cleaning floors in cars and for flushing toilets. There are worries that the water shortage in the south could be more damaging than a drought 2 years ago. That was the worst to hit the area since 1947. The Water Resources Agency is concerned that severe droughts like this will become more frequent in the coming years. Like many other countries around the world, Taiwan is facing an egg shortage caused by bird flu outbreaks. In response, the government is importing eggs from Australia, and it has launched a renewal project for chicken farms. Our reporter Yujing Huang finds out if this approach has been effective.
It's 9 a.m. in Taipei's bustling city market, and empty crates are already piling up. Just a few hours earlier, they were full, each holding around 200 chicken eggs. This has become a common sight for Taiwanese consumers over the past few weeks, as the country grapples with the severe egg shortage.
跑遍所有的杂货店，几乎都买不到，而且还涨了1倍。
啊，这无鸡卵，只有买鸭卵啊，鸭卵嘛买无啊。
那我觉得我们一般家庭，你可以少吃，可以用其他的那个豆类来补充。
Egg shortages have hit Taiwan several times over the years, but the owner of this store said it's the worst one he has seen in 60 years. The government says Taiwan is now short around 800,000 eggs each day. That's pushed the price of this commodity to a record high. Farms are now charging up to $2.50 per kilogram of eggs, a 20% increase from last year. Consumers may find the price jump tough to swallow. Prices had been relatively stable over the past decade, until they started climbing last year. And egg sellers say the situation is particularly difficult for them.
源头饲料，鸡仔囝鸡种，中鸡、人工，逐项拢贵啊！你鸡卵无倒去的时阵尔，饲鸡的业者的时阵尔，无利润，但伊嘛无爱饲啊。
Bird flu outbreaks have made things even more difficult, both in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan has tried to ease the situation by importing 5 million eggs from Australia. But beyond that, it says its hands are tied.
越南、印尼，甚至中国大陆说他们不缺蛋，还有蛋可以外销给我们，但是其实我们都不会考虑，因为他们都是有使用疫苗的国家。那菲律宾跟泰国确实都是没有使用疫苗的国家，但是在现在这个时间，其实他们也受到非常大禽流感的困扰。
The government is offering subsidies and loans with low interest rates to chicken farmers to upgrade their facilities. Experts say traditional farms are prone to bird flu outbreaks because they are open to wild birds, and caged chickens have lower immunity than free-range ones. But 80% of egg farms in Taiwan are set up this way. That's contributed to a lower egg-laying rate among Taiwan's chickens.
我们希望的重点目标就是把这个传统开放式的禽舍改建成非开放式，那甚至能够升级到密闭水帘式的环控禽舍。那这个不但可以增加我们的自卫防疫的安全，来提高生产的效率之外，也可以同时解决这个环境污染的一些邻避问题。
While this approach might be effective in the long run, some say it probably won't resolve the current crisis.
这个负压环控的鸡舍的确是可以提高产蛋率，但是就现阶段而言，有点缓不济急。
Experts say the warmer weather this spring should help. But as bird flu continues to spread through chicken farms across Taiwan, the country's egg shortage is not likely to ease up by the end of March, as the government had hoped. And while farm upgrades may prove useful in the future, any benefits will take a long time to trickle through to consumers. Klein Wan, Biqi Zhang, and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Human progress often comes at the expense of animals. This can be especially true when it comes to testing chemicals. But now a research team in Taiwan is working on a way to use technology to help keep animals out of labs. Animals often pay the biggest cost for human development. Now, a research team in Taiwan is working to lift this burden from the animals used in testing. They're doing that with the help of artificial intelligence. The researchers have come up with an AI model that can test if pesticides will cause allergic reactions to human skin without sacrificing the skin of anyone else.
完全不用动物死亡，就是不会有一只动物因为这个平台的测试而受到牺牲，所以它可以减量100%的动物。
Typically, chemical safety tests need about 30 mice, which are all destroyed after the experiment, whatever the results are. But the new AI system can compare a chemical structure with those that are known to cause reactions in humans. The chemical is then tested on human skin cells in a lab. The whole process cuts testing time from as much as 5 weeks down to just 4 days.
在农药上面其实有非常多的没有被研究到的地方，所以我们这次的合作呢，其实很大的是促进了说怎么把这个 AI 的模式呢用到农药这边来去做一些替代的一个方法。
Taiwan banned animal tests for cosmetics in 2019, but not for pesticides. And for now, pesticides can only be certified by passing animal tests. But if this new technology gets international recognition, pesticide test animals could finally be able to leave the labs. A champion wheelchair dancer has taken her routines back to her old elementary school. She was a student there when she lost her legs in an accident. Now a celebrated artist, she's using her story and her moves to inspire young people. John Van Trieste reports.
A warm round of applause for acclaimed wheelchair dancer He Xinru. She's back in her hometown of northern Taiwan's Hsinchu County and is performing at her old school, Shanqi Elementary. It's here, decades before, that her life changed forever. At the age of 9, while walking home from school, an oncoming train at a railroad crossing knocked her down and dragged her underneath. She had just won the 100-meter dash at school, but lost both her legs in the accident. Years of bullying and depression followed. Now 54, He reflects on her decision to come back.
失去双腿之后，很落寞的离开了学校，然后就再也没有勇气回来了。然后几十年之后，我竟然就是有机会来跟学妹分享。
As an adult, things began to change for her. She took up outdoor activities and eventually discovered wheelchair dance. In 2004, 1 year after taking up dance, she represented Taiwan in the World Wheelchair Dance Competition. She and her partner took 4th place in their category, a record for Asian dancers at the time. Now, He and her husband Zhou Fan, who also uses a wheelchair, run the 3.2 wheelchair dance troupe. With their son, they tour Taiwan, dancing and giving motivational talks.
我们走访乡镇，不断的让孩子们看到说，无腿的我都能够坚持不放弃就实现梦想的话，那么你们的条件比我们好太多，你们一定会比我做得更好。
在没有双脚的坐在轮椅情况底下，也是可以去完成这些动作这些挑战这样子。
The troupe aims to show ways people in wheelchairs can overcome their disabilities and not let any physical handicaps restrict or define their lives.
包含潜水包含跳舞，这些呢，可能在一般人眼中都是一些非常困难的事情，但是他们真的做到了。
Now on the road, the group are continuing their journey, working to bring art and inspiration wherever they go. Patrick Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out these 150 sheep protecting the ancient Italian city of Pompeii by tackling unruly grass. I'm Eric Gao. Take care and see you next time.